Hello out there, everybody, everywhere. I am Sam Sansalone, and I am excited to talk to you about all the stuff going on in the Virginia Beach through Williamsburg real estate market and just houses in general, whatever you guys want to talk about. But I thought this would be a very good time to kind of gather back around, right? Just the market right now is unlike anything that anyone's ever seen. So no one really knows exactly what the future will hold, but it's a very good time to regroup to figure out what to do next, right? And I think I have some ideas of what makes sense if you plan to move here, if you plan to move in the next few months, if you're thinking about it, or if you just want to see what's going on in the market. I have some things I'm watching. I want to tell you also about some specifics and experiences that I've had recently as far as like offers. The amount of offers coming with houses right now, how active are listings right now? Can you buy a house well under asking price? Where are the deals right now? All that kind of stuff. I think it'd be good to kind of do a reset and figure out, okay, now that things have changed, we all know things have changed since 5-6 months ago. Well, based on that, what now can we do? What can we do to strategize to either selling the house is one thing, but how to buy a house right now it's difficult, but it's complex, right? Because there's new information being given to us in real time, new data, new news. We're responding based on what we know, and it's changing quickly. So as you might know, as you probably know, if you're looking to move, any time in the recent last few weeks, the rates are clearly higher than they have been in a long time. So right now we're talking 7% is normal in the mortgage real estate market right now. So if you get anything under 7, you're doing great. And I want to share my screen, but for some reason I'm struggling with that. And why am I struggling with this? Sorry guys, bear with me. Just 1 second. Why am I having a problem? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and show you what the mortgage rates look like right now, and also what the mortgage amount, what it will cost to buy a house right now will look like, and then possibly going forward. So first of all, this is bankrate.com. This is by no means a Bible. Like, don't use this as the gospel truth of what rates are right now. But this is going to give you an idea of what we're talking about. You saw the rates jump from August to July to current times. 2-3 months were up multiple percent, 2% in a couple of months. And actually since then, it's actually been even more than that, going back into like June, May, April. A house right now, if you're a VA buyer, 7% is very normal right now in the market for interest rate. That's 0% down for VA. And conventional loans, you're talking anywhere from low 7s, mid 7s, high 7s. I've even heard sometimes in the 8s in some cases. So again, VA is usually a little bit lower, but that 7% is not definite. Check with your own loan officer to make sure you know specifics about your situation. But in general, this is kind of what we're talking about right now. So 7%, no one's heard of 7% since, I started real estate in 2006, and that was about where I got my first house in 2006, was about 7.25. And so 15 years, 16 years later, we're back there again. Now, it's hard to stomach that because 6 months ago, you could get one at 4% or even 3%, and even before that. So this is a huge difference. How much of a difference? This is a big part of the question. So number one is I'm going to show you over there's a great website called it's called Mortgage Calculator. You can easily find it online. It shows you can enter in all the details about what mortgage you want, how much it's going to cost, and it shows you also how much interest and taxes you're paying over the course of 30 years. So a $500,000 house, not even, let's say 4 months ago at 4%, or 5 months ago at 4%. If it's with taxes being $4,000 a year, insurance $1,500 a year, that can somewhat change. VA, the amount you're paying per month was $2,845.41. That's all those things together. Now, let's make that a 7% rate instead of a 4% rate. Now, what does that do? $84.85, around $900 a month more for the exact same price house now than it was several months ago. However, the house that was $500,000 6 months ago, yes, the market has waned, but the prices have still gone up. Now they're not 600. A $500,000 house 6 months ago is not 600 now, but it might be 515, 510, 520, 505. So in that range, you're still talking a higher sales price and also a higher more interest rate. So you're talking it's going to cost more for the interest rate and cost more for the house. So what does that mean for the market? And does that mean that no one's buying houses right now? Okay, well, actually, in fact, not the opposite has happened, but I would say for what I would expect for a fall combined with higher rates, it's busier than I thought. So I don't have the specific number here, but the idea here is that 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, if you had 100 houses on the market in Virginia Beach, of those 100 houses, I would say 80 or so, 85 would have been sold in the first 5 days, 4 days. Average days on market was, in the low single digits. However, now I'm looking online, looking at the amount of houses that are available right now. Actually, I want to show you that. Let me show that to you. Let me show you actually the MLS so you can see how many houses are available right now and the percentage of those houses that are under contract. So let's go back. Here is the MLS. So I'm going to look up Virginia Beach, $400,000 to $600,000, and that's what this is right here. Zooming in. So there it is. There's your criteria. All of Virginia Beach. There's Virginia Beach, and I'm showing everything that is not under contract. These are contingencies, so not contingent, right? Now there are some other houses that are also on the market but went pending. But we're talking just specifically houses that are either available or contingent for a home inspection or something similar. There are 105 houses that are not contingent on the market in Virginia Beach between 400,000 and 600,000. Okay, well now let's switch it to how many are under contract right now of the 31. So there are 136 houses between in Virginia Beach in those price ranges that are either available or under contract. Of those, 31 are under contract. So what is that? That puts us at around 25% are under contract. Now there are also some pending listings as well in there as well. So that's 166 houses are pending, meaning they were on the market, went under contract, and now are almost closed, but they're not, basically. So that's why I don't want to say 25% of houses that are on the market are under contract, because there are a lot of houses that are pending. However, that being said, there are still a majority of houses that are on the market or that have been listed in the last 15, 20, 25 days. Those are the majority are still available. So, and that was not the case 6 months ago. So we're talking, let me go back and go back to available houses right now. So 105 houses, and you can also see this. I'm going to zoom out. Another stat here you can look at and see market time. Look at all these houses that have market time of 0, 1, 2 days. However, we're seeing a lot more of 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 20 or 19, and a lot more in the double digits and into the 60s and 70s, even into the hundreds. So this is important because it gives you an idea of, number one, there are houses that are still selling, number one. So if you want a house, if you love a certain house, you can't assume that a house is, and then, by the way, feel free to leave a comment. I forgot to ask or say that. Let me know if you're watching from anywhere. Love to hear about it. But make sure, don't assume that if there's a house you love, it's definitely going to just sit on the market. You see that there are some houses that are sitting on the market, but there are a lot of houses that are selling quickly, that are pending quickly. I listed a house just this week. It was, what's today? Today was Tuesday. Actually, a good example was when I listed on last Thursday. Listed on Friday. Listed on Friday, got 4 offers during that first weekend. And it was a $400,000 house. Now, that being said, there are a lot of other variables there to decide how many offers there might be in general and all that stuff. My point is that if you see a house online that you like and you see it in person and you like it, do not assume that there will be nobody else that it will be going after the house. And that flip side, that house that I said went under contract with 4 offers, it went, don't want to say, it's between $20,000 and $30,000 over asking price. So that's several percent higher. Again, you could say, well, that person, did they make a crazy decision? I don't know. They wanted that neighborhood, wanted that house probably. But my point here is not that. It's more to say that people still want houses, and there aren't a lot of houses available. The supply is still low. So if you want to move in the next few months, my opinion is you do have some good options or some good opportunity, a window of opportunity in the next couple of months to find a house for the best price that you can probably find it for the next several months. The reason is because we are in the time between now, mid-August, we're on August, mid-October, almost the end of October, into the holiday season, end of December, where the fewest amount of buyers and the fewest amount of sellers will be around. However, you can use that to your advantage. If you find a house that you love and it's in this time period and it's available in this time period, there will most likely be fewer buyers right now that will want that house compared to 3 months later, March, April, whatever. Because once we get into January, just past the New Year's Day, you'll start seeing a bump in activity in both listings and in buyer interest, because people will all the time will wait until after the holidays. So if you're willing to do the thing that most people don't want to do, that's where you find the deal, because there are fewer people that will want to do it, willing to do it. Same reason why it's good to look at houses in the rain. Same reason why it's good to look at houses in the snow. Nobody else is out. When you go out there and no one else is there, you have less competition. Simple as that. So between now and the end of the year, if you can buy, if you want to buy, and if your life situation allows for it, this is the time to do it. Now, I'm not saying that you should do it. I just had a conversation with someone today, great guy, had a great conversation talking about this exact thing. And I said, look, my opinion is I don't know what's going to happen. I do know, cyclically speaking, and we'll talk about cyclical stuff here in a minute as to what I think will happen. But with rates going up, there are people like, you don't know what's going to happen. But between now and just in the next several months, this will probably be the cheapest time, because once we get past that February time period, it will just start increasing again. So I just will say, please be mindful of when you buy the house, if you buy. And I told the guy today, I said, my opinion is, I don't think if you just discretionary, like, I just want to move today. This is not a great time just to move today. You know what I'm saying? This area is loaded with a lot of people that are coming back and forth from the military. And so a lot of people are coming because they have to. But my point here is to say that it is important to know why you're moving, why you're buying. Are you buying because you want a new house, because you just want a new house? Well, okay, if you do that, that's fine. But make sure you know that as interest rates keep going up, if they go up, we might see a surprise where maybe the prices fall in the early part of 2023. I doubt it. The reason I doubt it is because there will be more people that will be moving in 2023 as opposed to right now, but it could happen. So let me show you another screen and show you the average sales prices or median sales prices right now in Virginia Beach to give you another idea and another element of this concept. So going over to back to not the MLS, but the data from the MLS showing you the median sales prices in Virginia Beach right now. This is in in September, which means anybody buying a house in August, closing in September, 405,000. The highest in the year was in April, 416,950. We're not too far off of that. Remember, every year after the highest point in that given year, it always drops. The second quarter, the third quarter, quarter four, almost always, I say always, looking at the graph, the graph almost always will drop in that second part of the year. And then what happens? It bounces back up again. It bounces up. There's March, boom, 4, 5, 6, the 6th month of the year. Here we go. It's February, meaning people that bought in January, closed in February. That was the cheapest you can get in 2015. Here we go in 2021. The cheapest was actually that year was in January. After that, it was in December. This year it goes down, but bounces back up again. If you notice that in the last half of the year, it kind of ranges, meaning it bounces up and around for those last few months. I think that this 405 number will go back down for at least the next. I think it will bounce back down as rates have bounced up again. Probably, I think we'll see a surprise. We'll see this go down into the probably the upper like 395-ish range if I was to guess. And I think I told you, I think it was about a month ago, I thought that 415 number or 415 would go under 3. I was targeting 390. Right now we're at 380. It bounced up to 405. We're in that range of 390. I don't think that's too far off because percentage wise, being around like that 5% drop, that's not crazy. The market dropped that far in booming years in the last half of the year. So this is the time price wise to get a good deal. Now, people will say, well, if you get the house, you can always buy the house and then refinance later. That's true. You can do that. But you don't know for sure. I think rates will drop in the next several months. I could be wrong. A lot of people, if someone says that they know for sure, they're wrong. They don't know. But I think they could go. I think they could stay up. We don't know. If they go down, I think that there will be an even greater amount of people that will be ready to buy because they're waiting for this thing. They're like, hey, I'm ready to buy now because rates dropped. I want to wait for rates to drop. This happens a lot. And so if that happens, just add in not just the cyclical element of the demand in the first part of the year. Now add in the extra element of people that waited for interest rates to drop. So now you have a even higher buyer pool. So then you have to be ready for strategy, how to get offers accepted again, almost like last year, not to the same degree in my opinion, but the same concept still applies. So side note, where are you guys watching from? Curious to hear, where are you guys watching from? Anybody want to tell me? If you have any comments, any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm trying so hard to give you what I think is the best information there is. And you even see my new shirt. I just tried a new shirt on. You see my tag on the side of my shirt. Dead giveaway. Oh man, it's been a day. So, but I'm trying really hard to make sure you understand this data and understand what to do about when you should move and if you should move. So please feel free to ask any questions, leave any comments in the stream on to your right. What was I going to add to that? Around the corner of Virginia Beach. Hi, Sam. Hey, Brian. Around the corner of Virginia Beach. I'm curious to know where. But welcome to the chat and welcome to Virginia Beach if you just moved to the area. I hope this is helpful for you. So what do I think is going to happen into the next several months price-wise? Let me go back to, well, I guess that you can see the market insights here. You can see Hawaii. Hey, Ian. Awesome. So 6-hour time difference, is that right? 3 hours to West Coast and then 3 more hours. Tell me if I'm right. So if that's true, it's at 2:48. If so, thanks for watching in the afternoon. That's great. So here's what I think is going to happen. And if you look, let's go back to the data again. Look and you see 2022, the highest is 416,950. Okay. So if you look at 2020, 360, 2021, 385. Well, every year, the highest sales price median increased, right? Every year. Well, I say every year. I mean, they did. So 335, it bounced up the next year to 350, 360. That's about 6%. The next year, another 385. It's about another 5-6%. I'm just spitballing, rounding here, but 416 the next year, which is at 35, almost like 8%. So what I'm saying here is that every year, as the trends went up, since what 2013-14, you regularly see the highest median sales price of the next 1 year go higher than the next year. So what we're looking for is next year, are we going to be hitting a number above 415, in my opinion? Because I think that there's a good chance that this might be the top, this 415 number. This could be the top. Maybe it drops down again because of interest rates. But I still think that because we're in the fall time, I think this will still bump up over 415. The question then to me is how high over? I don't think this is a 5, 7, 8% over thing. I think that I think my guess is this number will be somewhere in the 420s range is what I think is going to happen. And I think there's going to be some added demand if the interest rates stay similar. And then the question then is where from there? I think it's going to probably range. I don't personally see a crash personally, but I still think there's going to be a correction. I think there's a correction. I just don't know how much. I just don't think it's going to go back down to like these 350, 360 numbers. I think it's going to reduce a little bit lower than that. My opinion. You can all feel free to disagree there. Ian, 6 hours. Cool. Okay, so it is 250. Thank you very much. Extra large hot dog. Been watching your videos from months moving to Virginia Beach on the 26th. So cool. Welcome. I hope you like it. Do you know where in Virginia Beach you're moving to? I'd love to know that. Anybody else coming to either Williamsburg, Virginia Beach, Newport News, anywhere in the area? If you have questions, drop them below too. I'll feel free to I'll answer any questions that you may have as well. But my point here is to say that you're around Salem. Cool. Salem. I love Salem. I grew up near Salem. But my point here is I think that we're going to see a bump up over the 415, almost like a stock, right? Like, so if you break a trend line, that's when you might find, okay, that trend's going to start reversing. I think there will be some sort of a reversal. I just don't see it in the cyclical element of this coming year. I think it's going to still bump up over the highest we had last year, but just not by nearly as much as it was the several years before. Putting myself on record there, I could be wrong, but we're going to know a lot more in the next probably 2 or 3 months as far as the market goes, based on what the environment outside of real estate is. And that's something interesting to note here is that in this market, there are so many elements that are outside of real estate that are factoring into the real estate market right now. The last time that prices went up a lot, there were a lot of speculating things happening that people were buying houses because they just didn't really, they were kind of gambling. Like, hey, I'm going to buy a house at 500 and I'll just sell it for 550 in 3 months because it's going to go up that high. Well, that backfired, and people that could afford, like the people that were buying houses could not really afford a lot of those houses. But these people that are buying houses now, a lot of these people are super qualified. So again, it would require other elements in the economic world or the world to affect the real estate market in the same way as a crash like happened back then. That's not to say it couldn't happen. Just saying that would mean that there would be other things that would be beyond just the gambling element of what happened in 2006 and 7 and so on. So now going into the next several years, I think we're going to see it kind of bounce. But if rates go back down again, which I think could happen relatively soon, partly because we've shot up so fast. And if they shoot up pretty fast, it's kind of like when they bounce down. It's like a whiplash thing. I think we're going to find it bounce a little bit, correct itself a little bit. But again, hey, that's just my personal opinion. Hey, Trey Vlogs. Hey, Trey. Do you think that the McMansion homes, I guess, are becoming oversaturated within the Hampton Roads area? Don't get me wrong, they're nice, but I think that some areas are being undervalued. Just my opinion. Good question. So all right. McMansion, I would assume that when we're talking about that, we're talking about like the brick 2-story, like 3,000 square foot, kind of like Home Alone style. If anyone's watched Home Alone, I guess I'm dating myself, but and if that's the case, to me, I actually don't necessarily think they're oversaturated. I think that you'll find that because Virginia Beach has had so many houses built in the past, 30, 40 years, prior to the last 5 or 10 years, there just aren't as many new construction houses being built right now. And of those, a lot of them are actually like the Asheville Park style. That style is kind of a bit more popular right now, meaning like that you see a lot more aluminum siding. You don't see as much brick right now, at least that I'm seeing. You'll see some that are in the higher price, like $1 million plus, but in the 7, 8, and 9, when you'll find a lot of the new construction, if there's any in Virginia Beach, which is not very much right now, even Norfolk or Chesapeake. Chesapeake's a little cheaper. You just don't see as many, but I think that was popular for a while, and I think that you'll still see a lot of those. I mean, that's just because they were built for a while, 10, 20 years. But I don't necessarily think personally that they're being oversaturated, but I think there are some areas, like you said, that are being undervalued. I think that there are some school districts that are being undervalued because people are so fixated, in my opinion, on the highest niche.com ratings or the greatschools.org ratings. They get focused on that. And then I'm not saying that those are wrong. I think those are perfectly great resources to use as a reference, but they don't always tell the whole story, in my opinion. But I definitely think you need to use those as much as possible. Please do your own research about schools by any stretch. But I do think that there are some neighborhoods that are still undervalued because of, I think, school district demand, ratings you see online, and sometimes age of house. And so you'll see a lot of well-built houses built in the 60s and the 70s, even in the 80s, or prior to that, and even in Norfolk in the 30s and 40s. Great houses that are in the areas that, like in school districts that people don't think are as highly ranked or fill in the blank. And for good reason, because if you're moving from a different area, you don't have any frame of reference. You're trying to go as much back on as much as you can. It's hard, especially if you've never been to the area before. I get it. I'm still a huge fan of Kempsville. I love Kempsville. Grew up near Kempsville. I think there's some amazing neighborhoods in incredibly central location. And the reason why it's so central is because this time period when the Kempsville houses were built in a time that's where the land, that's where all the action was happening. So that became the popular place. And so you kind of benefit with being the most central because that's when they built back then. So that they took the land first, if you will. So, but those 60s houses, brick ranches, 2-story houses, I think those still are great. I love those houses. They're very well built. And there are quirks to it, and then also the floor plans and whatnot. I've talked about that ad nauseum, but at the same time, I think that you will find that the construction is great. You'll find a lot of people. A lot of these neighborhoods are so quiet. I just love them. So you can get a house, for example, in Kempsville for $525 that you might have to pay $625 for in Great Neck, or maybe $575 for in Kings Grant or in Little Neck. So just that little bit extra. And now, what's $75,000 in mortgage? Now that's closer to $600, maybe $100 a month difference. So I guess weigh that out. Maybe do the private school option. I don't know, but again, it might be cheaper still to go to the better school district that you want. I'm just saying that there are options here. Extra large hot dog says again, the cost of housing was shocking with Virginia Beach. Honestly, I thought it would be a lot higher. Yeah. So you know what? I'll show you another element. Let me go back to this and show you. This talks. Oh, well, I just did. Okay. I was going to say that I thought I was taking out attached houses as well, but what you'll find is Virginia Beach has a wide range of styles of houses and sizes of houses and prices of houses. So, for example, if I took out let's just say 41. 41. This is like Bayside, parts of Princess Anne High School. Taking that out, now we're talking. Oops, is it the same? Is it really the same? Okay, let me try that again. Take out 41. Let's do. Oh, see, now this is why I don't want to do this while I'm live and I get to watch me screw around with this. Let's do this again. You're watching me in real time. Okay, so let's just do 41. I guess because there are some neighborhoods that have really high sales prices in 41. So forget that. Let's just take out 48, 47, 46, 40. Let's keep that. So half of the city now are 425. My point was, I was trying to make a point and it didn't go very well, was that there are parts of the area that are bumped up higher. Now, even then, 425 for parts of like Great Neck, 42 is Great Neck and Little Neck. I'm sorry, 42 is Little Neck, 43 has Great Neck in it, as well as the ocean front. So there's some expensive parts of town in here, but 425. So, there are some places, for example, Great Neck, there are some places in there in the 8s and 9s and over $1 million on the water. But then you'll find as you go closer to like Hilltop near Virginia Beach Boulevard near Alaskan Road, those houses down there in the 4s, in the 3s. And so then if you combine that with other parts of, for example, 41, there are single family houses in 41 and 44 that are in the 2s still and the 3s. So that averages out as well. So this is really, that's where the average or median can be a little bit deceiving because it doesn't tell the entire story. So what is my general thought on what to do here? If you are planning to move, if you are coming to move, I would target the next month, really the next 2 months, even 3 months into January to find the house that you want, if at all possible. You'll have fewer options. You'll have, you'll have a higher rate for at least a little while. But I think you're going to have the cheapest prices that you'll find for the next few months, is my opinion. If the rates go down, that is even more so. And I mean, even from 7 to 6, 6 to 5.5. That's a huge difference because people now wish they had gotten a rate at 5% instead of it being 7 or 7.5. That's long gone. I know someone right now that's locked into an interest rate right now based on a new construction house at 4.25%. And they could lock in because they had a new construction house and the lender let them do that. that deal, if that deal, that doesn't exist anymore. 4.25%. So people that want to go back and look and say, well, maybe go back. If people that want to find a house based on a cheaper interest rate and they kind of have regret, like, oh, I'll just take the bull by the horns, get one at 5.75% or whatever. Well, if that happens, then you're going to talk about more demand when listings go up in February and in March. If when they happen, you'll have more buyers. Instead of there being like one buyer for every house, you might find two buyers for every house. Then the most popular houses become 4, 5 offers again, 6 offers again. Then it's like, what happened? I thought the market cooled. It's a supply demand thing. And as you get into the springtime, the demand increases. So extra large hot dog, another good question. What's the hottest month for home sales? I'm guessing around spring and summer. Yes. Now it depends. Each year is a little different. But going back to the analytics, you'll see median sales price, even for this part of the year, or this part of Virginia Beach, you see the highest, you see closed. So again, looking at this date, date 2020-08 means that's August. Houses that were bought in July, mostly, that closed in August. So July in this case would be the highest in 2020. That was kind of a weird year. July, meaning June, was the highest in 2019. Before that, the year before that was really 6 and 7. So May and June. The year before that was June or May. The year before that was August. So in general, I mean before that, yeah, that was a weird one. 2015. Wow. But in general, you'll see anything between May and July, because that is the end or the peak of when people focus all their buying around moving for school. Now, that is not to say that it is the highest sales price time for every price range. This is something I want to study and go along as I go along in my free time, because if you notice, let's just say someone owns a 5-bedroom house, has 4 kids, and wants to sell and base their selling around the school cycle. What will they do? Most likely list their house in March, April, May, right? Or June, maybe. But in that like mid-spring, late spring time period. So what happens? Houses like that get listed in October, September, November, what happens? There are a lot fewer of them, because who wants to sell their house in the middle of the school season? And there are fewer buyers in that range. So if you can get a house that, a larger house, usually you can, in my opinion, you can get a better deal in the fall, because there are fewer people in that type of situation that can afford or want to transfer or move their whole situation to a different house or sell their house at that time. What does that mean? Better deals, right? But that doesn't mean that houses in like the 200,000, the 300,000, the 400,000 price range are necessarily going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to be watchful just to see, okay, what's the best time to buy certain time period houses? Or I'm sorry, what's the best time of the year to buy certain styles of houses or sizes of houses? I just think I still think that it's better, it's more competitive or hottest to buy in the spring, early summer period. But I do think there's probably some more margin for a little bit better deal for as you get up into the 5s and up in the fall, because there are fewer people that will be interested in buying a house with more bedrooms, more size, based on the style of situation that house usually affords, or a type of style that house attracts. So, but in general, to answer your question, anywhere from really April, May, June is the hottest of the year. So Trey, I do agree with what you're saying. One benefit I should mention, I guess, is that especially within the last 10, 15 years is newer road construction, which connects more residential areas. So that helps. Great point. And that's something I think is also worth considering, is the fact that I was just talking to someone yesterday about this. Buying a house, one of the hacks to getting a house in maybe a better school district, more in-demand school district, if you will, or just even a quieter part of the city, less activity, shopping, or whatever. If you buy it on a busier road, like a, for example, Indian River Road, Elbow Road, these large roads, but they're kind of long connecting roads. It's busy in one sense, it might be noisier, but it's a busy road in that it's a long connecting road. There's more cars on it, but they go faster. Buying on a house on a street like that can usually lead to cheaper prices because there are fewer people that might want to buy a house on that road. However, one thing that is often forgotten is as this area expands, please be prepared for more road expansion. Trey he just nailed it there. So as the roads get widened, this has happened multiple times in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. As roads get widened, you'll find that the city will often, in many cases, use eminent domain and take over property. I'm not saying this will happen everywhere. I'm not saying a specific spot that it will happen, but it's happened. Cities will buy back houses, and then all of a sudden you don't have a house anymore, and they're building that road. Or they might not do that, but the road that you thought you were buying further away from now creeps closer to your house, and the yard size you thought you had now is gone. So that can happen. Be prepared for that, and just be watchful if you're coming to Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Norfolk to a certain degree, but Norfolk has been the most developed for the longest time. But you can consider Norfolk, but Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Suffolk, those are to me the primary ones to consider for this type of thing where you've got road widening, even especially Suffolk as things continue to grow and develop in Suffolk, and as you go further north into Carrollton and Smithfield. This, like what you thought was country or relaxed, is now a lot fatter roads, more cars, right? So just keep that in mind. Something that just popped into my head when Trey mentioned that. Trey also said, especially Holland connecting to Princess Anne, which makes commute to shopping much easier. Yep, that's exactly. I totally agree. Chemist, great name. Hi, Sam. What are the current new home mortgage interest rates? So I was just talking about that earlier. Why are we at 308 median sales price? What was I doing there? Oh, I wouldn't see it reset again. That's just for the entire Hampton Roads area. So I'm going to leave this and switch it. So the rates, I'll go back and show you what the rates are now. Now, this is, again, I always preface this by saying that please talk to your loan officer to get the correct information, because I can't give the actual data because it can change and because I'm not licensed to do that. These are estimates. These are kind of just as ways to just help guide you in kind of getting an idea of what the rates are, where the rates are trending. So weekly national mortgage rate trends, we're talking 7% just over fixed. This now, again, I talked to the lender today. Their rates right now, VA, were 7%. Prime. Now, conventional was higher than that, 7.5 and up. So I would not necessarily take this to the bank, no pun intended. But this is kind of where we're talking now. But I think we're talking low to mid sevens for the most part. And I think that will potentially continue for a while. And again, I've mentioned before, I think they might drop in the next couple of months, but it's just hard to say what might come around through the Christmas holiday. Extra large hot dog. How does the military bases affect home prices? Does that play more into renting more than buying? I heard it's a super heavy turnover with housing around Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. That's a great question. And all of what you're saying, the senses you're getting are true. So in general, the rental market and purchase market are affected greatly by military. Air Force, Navy, Army. What am I missing? Marines, Coast Guard. What else am I missing? Army, did I say Army, Navy, whatever. They're all here, I think. So Air Force. So that being said, because there are so many bases here, you will constantly have transient people coming in and out, often every 3 years, 4 years, however long they're stationed for, whatever. My point here is that people are coming and going. Now, some people will decide because they're only here for a couple of years, they might just choose to rent. And that's where the rent prices will be affected. BAHs will be used for renting instead of buying. Now, on the flip side, some people had great experiences buying and will then buy instead of rent. If that is the case, like that will also boost up the purchase market. So in general, my point here is to say that what is one of the few industries that is relatively stable? No business is stable, no industry is super stable, but one of the most stable in anywhere in the country. Government, military, in my opinion, at least. I mean, it's pretty stable. In the 2006, 7, and 8 time period, There are people that are coming here and leaving from here all the time. So that being said, it did help boost the prices in even the worst of times, in the worst crash that the country has ever seen. So this area is, again, insulated to a certain degree for home prices, but again, it's not fully insulated from everything else in the world or the country. But it does help that there is a lot of military coming in and out. There is kind of a built-in buyer pool and renter pool, so they both are affected. And I think that if the military ever just pieced out and left, you would see a significant dent in prices here because of the lack. Well, the businesses would leave, but also so much would change here. So I think that military does boost pricing pretty. What's the word? A great deal in Hampton Roads, not just Virginia Beach, Norfolk, through Newport News, through Williamsburg. People that buy in Williamsburg often go to Langley, work at Langley. Happens all the time, even in Suffolk, all that. So it's the entire area is affected by it. And also, unrelated question: have you ever done any content with living in coastal Virginia? Oh, cool. That's cool. Living in coastal Virginia. I'll look it up. YouTube and key channels for information from your life. That's great. It's incredible. I have not done anything with living in coastal Virginia, but I will. Yeah, that sounds cool. No, but the answer to your question is no. But I will look into that. Cool. But yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Let's see. Going back to, is that your answer to your question about the military bases? Yes. Chemist got your answer to your question. Yes. I think that's good for now. I think I wanted to finish off with the rates, talk about the pricing, talk about my expectations for the next few months. I think we're good. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out now. You can drop comments in the description as well too, but I can answer any questions you got. I love helping people relocate here. If you do want to relocate here, if you plan on it, you can also, I've got my contact information in all the videos, I suppose too, but I'll drop it here now. 757-577-8764 and my email address. There's my email address, my name, and also my website. A lot of my names over and over and over again. So feel free to do that. You can email me whenever you want. Trey, have a good night, Stace. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate that. And yeah, if you have any more questions, please drop them now. But otherwise, I am excited about the next couple of months. I think if you do want to move, I would do it soon. If you choose to, don't do it. Or say if you have to, or if you choose to, knowing the market, but don't do it just on a whim, in my opinion, unless you've thought through the whole process. And that's why I'm here if you need help bouncing some ideas off. But best place, me and my wife, she eat on the 27th when we get there. Before you go, okay, what kind of food do you like? What kind of food do you like? So I just went to Baladi Mediterranean this evening. Love that place. Big fan of Mediterranean food. Very fresh. Go to Waterman's, good fish place on the ocean. As good for the view as it is for the food. It's good food, but it's fine. Barbecue, quick, small little place, but I love it. Dave's, the best barbecue in town. He knows it. I know it. A lot of people here, everybody should know it. If you want chicken, Peruvian chicken, El Pico de Oro, to me, the best Peruvian chicken in the area. To me, probably the best chicken in the area, in my opinion. Bay Local, good brunch place on the north, on the Shore Drive. Up there as well is Carib Shack, which is a Caribbean place. If you notice, we like holes in the wall. We also like ethnic food. But then on top of that, you can do more seafood. Bubba's is up there near the Lesnar Bridge on the north side of Virginia Beach, which is great. And am I missing anything else? Seafood, ethnicities. Trying to throw them all out there for you. I love my restaurants. So if you have questions about restaurants, I love talking about food. You probably can't tell by my build, but I love food. What are your thoughts on a pool adding or not value a home? Good question. Should it be considered in the price? Yes, it should. So here's what happens with pools. People, there are some people that want pools. I gotta have a pool. There are some people that don't want pools. What does that mean? It means that you have some of the supply demand curve is affected, right? I'd say, let's just say half the supply curve is affected from people that want them. So there's more demand for those people that want those, or for those pools from those people that really want them. But then there's some people that just don't want them at all. I don't want a pool. So then I am not an interested buyer for a house with a pool unless it's an amazing house. So you'll find that it does affect value. Now there are certain neighborhoods, and this is what appraisers do. They appraise neighbor houses based on, with a pool, based on if the pool is in a house that is in a neighborhood that regularly has pools. So if you're in a neighborhood of 100 or 200 houses, of those, 3 of them have pools. Okay, well, if that's the case, it might actually not be as much of a value to the house because the valuations of the neighborhood are not factored into having pools, meaning it's not really as much of a demand for that neighborhood. Otherwise, it will bump it up even a lot more if you buy a house without a pool and put a pool in a neighborhood that has a lot of pools. That's how after talking to appraisers, that's how they determine a lot of stuff. So, or determine valuing with pools a lot. So personally, I'm not a big pool fan. I know with a lot of people that buy houses with pools, I get it. It's just not my thing, and I'm fine saying that. But in general, it will add value. In general, it will affect demand to a certain degree, but the ones that want a house with a pool want a house with a pool. And so you might lose some buyers because they don't want the pool, but the ones that do want a pool, you'll get more interest from those people, if that makes sense. So Brian Nussbaum, Pungo Pizza. You know what? I've never been to Pungo Pizza. I just asked someone, a friend of mine, about Pungo Pizza. He didn't like it as much. No, is it Pungo Pizza? No. Different one. I'm sorry. Please don't associate what I just said with Pungo Pizza. I don't know about Pungo Pizza. Please let me know if it's any good. I haven't had much pizza in a long time. It messes my stomach up. I love pizza, and so it's very sad for me. So, but I have not had it in a while. So I think I have good recommendations for pizza across wherever I've had pizza, but I just don't eat it very much anymore. Seafood has got to be the place for the first night. Haha, Bubba's it is. Yeah, Bubba's is good. I like Bubba's a lot. Oh, no. Bubba's is fine. If you're okay with going into the eastern side of Virginia Beach and it's no scenery, it's nothing fancy as far as like view on the water, blah, 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 blah. Blue Seafood, best seafood I've had in the area, period. I should talk more about Blue Seafood, but I don't. Blue Seafood is in Red Mill in the Ocean Lakes-ish area near Kellam-ish, those high school districts over there. I would go there. If you can go over there, it's a small place. Make sure I don't know if they do reservations, but try and see if you can do reservations. If not, get there, in the 5 o'clock, 5:30 range, in my opinion, 5:45, just to make sure you get a table or you don't have to wait too long. But it is very, very good. They are some of the best, but it's a small place. So just watch for that. Blue Seafood and Spirits, I think. Salem Woods House as an example. What about Salem Woods? Oh, for pools. It's a mixture in there. I think it would add some value. I just wouldn't say, like, for the cost of pools right now, like, when I say add value, I'm not saying like if you spend $40,000 on a pool or $50,000 on a pool, you're not getting $50,000 in appraisal value. If in my opinion, you might get 15, something like that, 10, 15, maybe. That would be an appraiser and house related specific question, but you'll get some, I think. But you'll get appraisal value in a lot of things, a lot of upgrades. But anyway, Texas. Oh, thanks. Texas. Thanks. You're welcome. What is the rating for Lansdowne School on Real Estate? What do you mean when you say rating? What does that mean? Now, school rating, like going great schools or niche, is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean, Trey. Sorry. Beach Bro Vlogs. Hey, thumbs up to you too. Yeah. Texas. I definitely think that anybody else that wants to add to my suggestion about seafood, if you have any other seafood thoughts, Bubba's is fine. I'm not like dissing Bubba's by any stretch. And Bubba's, please hear me out. I like Bubba's, but I do love Blue Seafood. I think it's my favorite anywhere. School rating. Yeah, school rating. I don't, let's do a little quick field trip. Let's do a little field trip to Lansdowne School District and see what it says. You can't see my screen, can you? Let's go over here. You're going to see live footage of me looking at niche.com. There we go. And Lansdowne High School. I thought it was like a A minus. Yep, A minus. So now A minus high school. Feel free to do all of the research yourself. And I've got to say that, I do. I do. I like some neighborhoods in Lansdowne. I like a lot of them, actually. Kind of boring, if you ask me. There's some places that are closer to the jet noise, and the houses are kind of like nothing super interesting. I'm like, all right, I can just go to Kempsville. But personal opinion. But A minus. Let's go back to what the K-12 in Norfolk area is, and specifically go to Virginia Beach. Saying not Norfolk. You see public schools, and there is high schools. So Ocean Lakes number 1, Ocean Lakes A+, Princess Anne A+, Cox A, Kellam A, Salem A-, FC, First Colonial A-, Lansdowne A-, Green Run Collegiate A-, Tallwood A-, Kempsville B+, there you go, Bayside B, Green Run B. So I don't know if that helps you, but I guess that saved you a Google search. Is that what it did? So yeah, to answer your question, so it's in there, it's in the mix. I got Blue Seafood on the map. I'll comment later on how good it was. Oh gosh, please love it. Please love it. I just talked it up a lot, but I do think it's great. I think it's my favorite. My wife and I love it a lot. We are big fans. So I wish I remembered what I had, but it was all good. Whatever. Oh, I think I had salmon. Anyways, whatever. Not the time to talk about fish, but anyway, guys, thanks a lot. If you have questions, please let me know. Drop comments, like the video, whatever. If you want to relocate, let me know. I've got my contact information, but you guys are awesome. I think you're the best. Be ready for whatever happens in the market, and I will see you on the next video.